Welcome to another edition of Wednesday in the Word. You know, of all the one another passages, I think Philippians 2, verses 3 and 4, is probably one of the most difficult ones for us to follow. In this passage, Paul says, "Do nothing from selfish ambition or conceit, but in humility count others more significant than yourselves. Let each of you not look not only to his own interests, but also to the interests of others." You know, the problem with this text is that it's so straightforward. No matter which Bible translation you look at, the command is just as clear as it is here in the ESV. For example, the New American Standard Version, the New American Standard Version says that we're to regard others as more important than ourselves. The NIV says that we're to value others above ourselves. And finally, the King James instructs us to esteem others as better than ourselves. So, no matter which translation you look at, we're either to value others above ourselves, or to regard others as more important than ourselves, or to esteem others as better than ourselves, or, as it says here in the ESV, to count others more significant than ourselves. You know, and if this was the only place in Scripture that we're commanded to do this, you know, it'd be easy to forget that it's there. But we have passages like Romans 15:1, where we're told to bear with the failings of the weak and not please ourselves. And then again, there's 1 Corinthians 10:24. There, we're commanded not to seek our own good, but the good of our neighbor. Then finally, there's a love chapter, 1 Corinthians 13. In verse 5 there, we read that love does not insist on having its own way. Let's face it, God is very clear when it comes to sacrificing our wants and our rights for other people. You know, it's interesting that this passage in Philippians chapter 2, it leads into one of the most glorious passages in the Bible on the nature of Jesus. You know, Jesus is a perfect example of what it means to sacrifice our rights and our privileges for the well-being of others. Jesus, the second person of the triune Godhead, Jesus, who is in nature and essence God, set aside his glory to become a servant. He set aside his glory so that he could die on the cross in shame and agony for us, even though, according to Romans 5:10, we were enemies of God. You know, Jesus didn't humble himself because we deserved it. He did it because he loved us. Jesus didn't come to be served, but to give his life as a ransom for many. So let me ask you, how can we, as followers of Christ, we who claim to be Christ followers, not be willing to set aside our wants and our rights for the sake of other people? Even taking into account their weak consciences and their weaknesses, just like we read in Romans 15:1. Well, so this week, let me encourage you to see others the way Jesus sees them. Not as obstacles, but as valued image bearers of God, worthy of sacrifice. Why? Because they were so loved by Jesus that he was willing to come and give his life and die on the cross to save them from their sins. Have a great day.